Yeah, welcome to another edition of Stirring the Pot. But I know it say the pot, but boom. There we go, y'all. We here. We stirring. You know what I'm
Let's
saying?
get it.
Because I'm gonna need you to stir.
Let's get it.
Let's get it.
We
So,
got stuff. We
folks,
got stuff like the
welcome to
grandma.
another edition. We here. We stirring. And like I said, I have my guest. You know what I'm saying? This is the pot podcast slash stirring the pot mashup today. So, you know what I'm saying? I got a real one for y'all. You know what I'm saying? Tonight I got a real one. This is family here. Uh all around solid guy, husband, father, entrepreneur. You know what I'm saying? Real dope MC as well. Conscious minded. I want y'all to be aware of that. He's very conscious minded and he's very dope. So without further ado, y'all, I'll give y'all the one and only Ralph Benjamin. What's popping, cuz?
Ain't
What's
nothing, cuz.
popping?
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I also want to congratulate you on your success with the show. And, it's an honor for you to ask me to come on here, man. So, it's my pleasure, man.
Hey man, you already know I've been talking about getting you on here for a while, and I'm excited to have you here, you know what I'm saying? Because
Likewise.
I like talking to down to earth people, you know what I'm saying? And when it comes to down to earth people, you are one of the ones I think of, you know what I'm saying? And
What's up?
when we think of down to earth people, we want to have somebody of substance, right? So the reason I brought you on is because you do that. You bring substance and you've lived a life that some people probably never lived, you know what I'm saying, in such a short time, you know what I'm saying? But it's a long time, but a short time, you know what I'm saying? I only say that because I'm older, cuz you know that.
Well, a
But
little bit.
welcome, man. It's good to have you here. So I'm gonna let
Thank you.
you do
Thank you.
your thing and introduce yourself the only way you can.
Okay, thank you first off, because I appreciate you in that introduction, and thank you for your platform. So just to keep it short, so we can get things stirring. Um, I'm Ralph Hall, otherwise known as Ralph Benjamin, but most people just know me as Ralph. Nicknames never stuck. I am who I am, and always been that. Um, 40 years old. Just recently married, so I'm a newly.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I think we got like 2.5 months in right now, so
Hey,
things,
newlyweds, y'all.
yeah, things are fairly
Newlyweds,
fresh.
congratulations, man. That's definitely
Yeah,
dope.
yeah. Thank you. Like he said, I'm a father of four right now, with a fifth on the way. Uh,
Hey,
oldest being oldest being 20. Current oldest 20. Youngest walking around, one. Will be two in December. In the middle is 16 and 15. Um, yeah, I'm a son. I'm a friend. I'm a husband. I'm a father. Businessman. I own my own trucking company. Small trucking company, but it's a reason why I decided to keep it the way it is right now. After having some other ventures. Um, I was a government contractor for a few years. Worked overseas. Got a chance to travel, mostly the other side of the world. Um, Music. I love music. Artists, hobbyists, I say.
definitely an artist.
You keep putting that on me.
Yeah, you know
uh,
why though. You know why. You know what I'm saying? And it go from way back down here when we was young boys. So,
yeah,
um, he's definitely one of them ones, folks. And he's very humbled, as you can see. Y'all heard him. He said, "You keep throwing that on me because there's so much more to him than just an artist." You know what I'm saying? And that is a
yeah.
true statement. So I'm
Appreciate
trying
that.
to
Appreciate
figure
that.
out where I want to start first. All right, let's start. Let's get the music out of there. Let's start there first
All
because
right.
we're gonna start there first only because this is what the show is premised off of, right? This is what we
Right,
talk
right.
about a lot. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? But we not going to stay there. You know what I'm saying? We going to bounce around. I know you've been watching the show, so you know I bounce around now. I don't just stick to the music if you do more than one thing.
right,
Um,
right.
okay, so let's talk about
Mm.
who is Ralph Benjamin, the artist. Break that down a bit to the people.
Wow. Sheesh. So I could say it started with like my immediate family, like my dad, uh, my grandmother, and then learning later on in life that we have other musical talents in the family. So I would say it started like my pop a old head, so he never really like listened to rap when I was a young boy. He never listened to rap. He liked soft rock, oldies. You know, my pop is just turned 75, so you could say he grew up on like the Osley brothers, but also the guys that came before the Osley brothers. You know, the Marvin
Right,
Gayes and the Raisins and the Sons and all of these other groups. These older people. You know what I mean? So I got a mixture of things from him, from War, rock and roll, all type of stuff. You know what I mean? That my dad used to listen to. I used to hate it. I used to ride in the car with him and be like, "Yo, can you turn to something else?" But come to find out, it gave me a an adaptable ear. I'll say, it gave me an ear to not just put music in one space or just have one liking for a particular genre. And then you
right,
got my grandmother. She loved jazz. You know what I mean? John Coltrane, um, Miles Davis. We lived in our, we grew up in South Philly, so staying in my grandma's house, you come downstairs, she doing her thing in the kitchen, and she got the vinyl spinning, or she got
right.
the jazz radio station on. So also got a bit of that as well from the cool side, I guess you could say. Um, and then rap, I fell in love with rap. I ain't gonna lie, one of my favorites was Tupac growing up. One of my favorite artists at that time, for a long time actually.
Yeah,
Um, born in the '80s. I'm 40, so I was born in '84. Lived most of my young childhood where I was moving around in the '90s. So that's one to me. And like I said, the music can go back a while. I'll say me living in that era, that was probably one of the best eras of music because it was such a mixture of like just real artists. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was doing something different and it wasn't looked down upon. And it was a lot of good artists. So
yeah. It was a
I
lot of
guess you could,
consciousness going on.
yeah, it was. And if you think about it, that's coming off the '80s with the Public Enemies, the KRS Ones, the Grandmasters, all of that, Grandmaster Flash and all of that, Furious Five. You had people that was talking about something. And you also
Right,
had the parties. You had the like Rob Bass. Um,
Chubb
so,
Rock.
yeah, yeah. You had a mixture. The Chubb Rocks. If you in Philly, you can't talk about Chubb Rock. You know that was on every block
Yeah,
party. So you know what I mean. So we got a good
yeah. That
mixture
was
in
at
there.
work.
So yeah. So eventually, I just found a love for music. I found out that I could put words together later on. You know what I mean? I was always pretty good in school, but I never really gave it my all. I just had a good memory, so I would just sit there, I retain information really well. So I would just retain
Yeah,
stuff, and a lot of stuff like random knowledge just stick in my head. So when it came to making music, I could just pull from different things that I retained, whether it was school or being in certain places, listening to people talk or seeing things. So certain words will pop in my head quick, and I realized that I was good at freestyling at that time, and that's how I started. And this was in the late '90s, maybe like '97, '98, something like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
And I had some friends of mine that was real close. Uh, Shout out to them. Shout out to my man Mars Tassan. Um, yeah, we used to rap together, so we owned our craft doing that, and
What was your rap
battling
name
when we
then?
could. Back then, Kevlar.
Kevlar.
Kev,
Like the
yeah,
bulletproof
Kevlar.
vest.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, all right.
I
So
think
break that down. Like, how did you get that name? Like, tell the people a bit about that. Like where did that come from?
that came from one of my cousins, Rashid. Excuse me. Shout out to my cousin Rashid, who also used to rap as well. Um, it was a time in his life where he was young and he did a nice little stretch. So we had some time apart, but we always stayed connected. And once he knew I was rapping, he was down at this time. He gave me that name because he was like, "You're like impenetrable. You know what I mean? You're resilient, and no matter what you put your mind to, you're always going to do it, and you're never going to let nothing stop you." So I was like, I like that. And then Kevlar at the time, it was a word I wasn't familiar with, and I looked it up, and I said, "That's dope. I like that." And I ain't hear nobody
Yeah.
had that name or refer to it that much. So I said, yeah, I like that. I'm gonna run with that. And when you're trying to come up with names, you go through a
It'd
bunch of
be
names
hard.
before one stick. But that one stuck. So that's how it really got started. You know what I'm saying? Me listening to Tupac, listening to I remember I used to copy the cassette tapes off the radio back in the day.
Yeah.
We used to, listen to the radio, and
Yeah.
they had that
Doubling
rotation
up.
going.
Yeah. A
Yeah,
side, B side.
yeah.
Yeah.
And some nights it be popping, like the radio be popping, and you just record that John, and that'd be like your party John. Like when you about to go out, you get dressed, you throw one of them
Yeah.
tapes on from the radio on the weekend or something, and
Yeah. Gotta
that's
fast
just really
forward the
how it started.
commercial break.
Yeah,
Stop
yeah,
soon as the
but
commercials come on. Come back
right,
on, hit record again, play and record.
yeah. Use the pencil to wind the tape
Yeah,
back
with
up
the
when you
finger
mess.
on the tape. Tape get messed up. You
Yeah,
gotta let me fix
yeah,
the tape.
yeah,
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 that was that work back in the day. That was a time
yeah,
to have, and the youngins don't really know about that time, but you know, yeah,
yeah,
man,
yeah.
that's dope. That's definitely dope. So as you went around doing music, what else did you do music wise?
Music wise, one of my favorite things to do is write. I also like to make beats, but freestyling was it came natural to me because I was just quick on my feet. Besides that, a little bit later on, my brother, producer, Perry Ryan, my cousin, Kyle Adderley, aka Cash Kyle,
Cash
we
cow.
we
Shout
came
out to
together.
Perry too.
Shout out to them. We came together and we started learning about labels and things like that. So we created a label called Put a Beat On.
Okay, tell
The
the
way
people a bit about Put a Beat On. What was that?
that was, so we had this idea where we wanted to do everything ourselves, right?
Right.
We didn't know this at the time, but it would be what y'all would call today as being independent. So we wanted to go that route. We made our own beats already. We already write our own songs. We already like making our connections as far as like figuring out what to do and how to do it. We didn't know much then, but we just went off of what we knew. So we
Right.
wanted to we wanted to create our own fate, so to speak, and be the driver of our own destiny. So we created that, put a beat on. One day my mom was saying something, and that's how the name Put a Beat On came about. They was my cousin Kyle and my mom was messing around. Next thing you know, Put a Beat On came, and a lot of people might think that came from Freeway. Shout out to Freeway when he was battling Cassidy. Shout out to Cassidy, two Philly
Yeah.
legends. But a lot of people think it came from that, but it didn't. Came from just,
PutABeatOn.com. I remember
yeah.
that.
And that was my son. That was my
Yeah.
son's voice when he was a young boy. We used that as our like our tag or whatever. And so yeah, my cousin Kyle, he looked up a lot of stuff. We got the label situation together, the LLC, the copywriting and all of that. My aunt Nadine helped us. Shout out to my aunt Nate. She helped us with the bill. We was young at the time. Um, and we didn't really have the funds to really take care of it. But she did invest in us. We used what we had and we took some from her and she helped us. So yeah, from that's when we started like doing our own mixtapes and rapping over other people's beats, like instrumentals and things like that. Back in the day, not back in the day like it's a long time ago, but early 2000s. I remember when Napster was out, and it's another joint called Lime something. I can't remember what it is. I was trying to remember that all
LimeWire.
day. LimeWire, there you go, LimeWire.
LimeWire. You put me
So
on to that, Joe.
yeah,
Folks, this is the
yeah,
first person that taught me how to sample. Smuck and Ralph Benjamin is the ones that taught me how to sample at a better level. Because I did not know how to sample, and Ralph used to just come through to my stew, you know what I'm saying? And my stew was in the basement, you know what I'm saying? And he used to come through, and I'm like, yo,
yeah.
I don't know how to do this. Anything that I said I ain't know how to do, he'd just be like, look, man, it's easy. All you gotta do is do this, and it's click, 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 click. Next thing you know, the whole beat going, and then he like, yeah, this how you sample right here. Chop this part right here, whoop de whoop, put it in here, and time it. And I'm like, damn. I was just sitting in amazement, yo, you very talented with that, and
Thanks,
that's what
guys.
started me sampling, and now I'll be sampling now, you know what I'm saying? So I
Yeah,
want to
thanks,
say
thanks,
thank
guys.
you for that, Jim. I thanked you then, but
Yeah, you're
I'm
welcome.
gonna thank you on air, you know what I'm saying? Because you one of the
Thank you.
ones that got me really in my beat bag heavy.
Yeah, yeah,
So like
appreciate that.
thank you for that, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
you're welcome. No problem. I appreciate it, cuz. Thanks for the love.
Yeah, man, all
Yeah.
day. So after put a beat on, what was next?
So what happened when we put a beat on was we ended up moving out of our element. So like fast forward a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Like we put some things together. We used to do comedy shows with Haitian Jonas and my man Classic. They would put the comedy shows on and we would provide the music. So we had like a little venture going on. Eventually we ended up going down to Atlanta because it was popping down there and that was the time. So we was like Philly's really saturated with artists and like if you not in with the who's, you can get looked at, but it's just difficult. So I'm on the
That's a
tip
fact.
like
That's a fact.
let's just go where there's more opportunities. You know what I'm saying? Because we was different from the rip. We wasn't really talking about what everybody else was talking about. Not that it was like so different, but we just had our own style. You know what I mean? So we end up going down to Atlanta. Us and a few other friends, we created a group with called Vampire Sneak Eyes. So it was like my homies plus my cousin homies, and we had like a double album venture type thing. Um, so when we went down Atlanta, we ended up getting a spot down there through our man Prof. Prof had a spot down there. We all crashed up in there. Eventually, I had a little situation. I I ain't gonna put that out there. But anyway, I had this spot through somebody that I had met down there, and the next door, it was like it was vacant, but it was a livable place. It just wasn't nobody staying there. So
Yeah.
sometimes we'd go up in that John, and it was wintertime because we ain't had no heat in that John. We ain't had nothing, like no sofa, no nothing. We going to
Mm,
sleep on the floor with jackets on and comforters all crazy, waking up frozen. But this
yeah.
was what we was willing to do to try to find our way to where we wanted to go at the time.
Yeah.
So we hit all the strip clubs and all of that, gave our music out. Eventually we did have some success. Came back to Philly. We actually had our song played on the radio 100.3. Might not come back. We was always moving around, you know what I'm saying? So it was like I might not come back. If I go somewhere and something pop off, I might not come back. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't never not looking back and respecting where you from, but or forgetting about it. It was just we moving with the flow of whatever comes with us, with the progression and the success of being prosperous, and that's what we aim to do. So I have to put a beat
Oh
on
man.
eventually, like I ain't gonna lie, I kind of peeled off because I had kids early. I had my son when I was 20. My son is 20 now. And 4 years later, I had my first daughter. So at that time, I'm 20. I have a daughter 4 years later, and then I have another daughter a year after that. So I tell my cousin and my brother, they're a little younger than me, just by a few years. I say, listen, I got to do what I got to do. So I'm
Absolutely.
still I'm still rapping and everything because I love it, but ain't really the type of money coming in because we started pressing up our own CDs. That's why I was saying back then, Kyle was on like burning CDs off, getting the music and the DVDs off Napster, selling it in high school. He was on that. He's real computer savvy back then and still is to this day. That was just a
I
knack. That
remember
was
you
like,
having merch too. I remember
yeah,
that.
yeah. We had some merch. So we was kind of like, I don't want to say ahead of our time because it was many people that was doing things like that on a larger scale. But for us to start it from what we had out of our own pocket and just word of mouth and moving around, I could say we kind of we did something. You know what I'm saying? We did something to be proud of. And I still love music to the day. But like I said, at the time I had to fall back. So I said, we did Atlanta, we did Philly, we was in the tri-state area. I said,
What was the name
go
of
to
the project y'all did?
It was called Vampire Snake Eyes. That was the one.
Vampire
Yeah,
Snake Eyes. So what
yeah,
was the
we
well
did.
traveled joint? That was your joint?
That was put a beat on John. That was well traveled. And then we did it John one of our homies, Jemiel Atkins, he was a UFC fighter. So my cousin made a song for him to walk out on because we had like some people that really was loyal fans to us. So he was like, "Yo, y'all make me a song." So cuz made him a song. So then we made a John called like I forgot what that John was called, but it was another project. But it was just like a bunch of mixes of us just going in on stuff. And we had some songs on it. So we had Well Traveled 1, Well Traveled 2. We kind of spoke some things into existence, and we'll get into that later about the well travel situation. But so we had those two. We had the Vampire Snake Eyes, which was a joint venture, and then we had the UFC tape that we called it. I forget what we called it, but it was something to do with UFC. And so those four projects. Plus we had other singles. Plus we had like a lot of beats. We was producing for some of our friends and the groups that we was collabing with. And we all made beats. We all could go in the studio and make a whole song by ourselves. You know what I'm saying? We didn't need one or the other to make a whole thing. It wasn't like we needed this piece or that piece. It was just when all three of us together, it was just something special.
It
So other than
was.
that, yeah,
It was.
it was just
And I
something
want to say
special.
that you already know how I used to be when I hear something when you played some beats for me. I'm like, damn, Perry made that, Kyle made that, you made
Yeah,
that. You
yeah,
used to make them right in front of me every time you pulled up on me. Like, yeah, I'll make something for
yeah,
you right now. Go ahead,
yeah,
cuz, honey, take that. And then I'll do something to the beat and make a song to the beat that he gave me. You know what I'm saying? So that's
yeah,
something that I always notice with you. Like, you're very savvy with whatever it is that you do. You know what I'm saying? And you study and you hone in and lock in. And once you get it, you got it. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So I
yeah.
commend you on that, man. So
Thank
tell
you,
us a
guys.
bit about this trucking company you got. Like talk about it. Like tell us a
So,
bit
all right,
about it and how you got into it.
okay. So trucking, I had my CDL now for 11 years. In April, it had been 11 years that just passed. A friend of mine hit me up. Shout out to my man Sincere. I mean, hold your head. He about to be home in a minute anyway, a couple months. But hold your head. Shout out to him. He hit me up one day. This is my man from Virginia. I used to stay in Virginia at the time. My aunt, Kyle's mom, used to stay in Virginia for quite some time. I used to love going down there in the summer, and occasionally I end up living down there, and I end up going to school down there off and on a little bit. And he was one of the friends that I met uh, at high school. I was in 11th grade, I believe, 10th or no 11th grade. He was like 16. So he hit me up and said, "Listen, bro, you need to get that CDL. It's money." I said, "Yeah." I said, "All right, I'm gonna look into it." I ain't look into it right away. I ain't gonna hold you. He told me that like maybe 2010, 2011. I ain't really look
Yeah.
into it till like the end of 2012. Then I end up graduating CDL school. I went to Allstate. So it was a 6 month program available. I wanted to take that because like I want to know what I need to know about this thing. You know what I'm saying? I don't want no little quick couple week program. Give me what I need to know so I can get the most out of it. So I took the 6 month program. I was finished in April 2013. I kind of was doing some other stuff at the time, so I really wasn't interested. But I never take information that somebody give me and just throw it away. Like I retain a lot. So eventually it was a time where it came back and I was trying to change some things that I was doing. So I said, let me give this a try. So I started out with flatbed. I did that for like a year and a half. Then I did a little tanker. In between there though, because in between this 11 years, I ain't drive trucks the whole time. So after the tanker situation, I ended up being down Virginia at this time. After the flatbed, I was in Virginia. I was in a relationship with this young lady. We ended up getting engaged. That ain't work out. Long story short, but my homie Sincere, once again, hit me up. He said, "Listen, somebody we went to school with overseas right now, contracting, and like he plugged in. He said, you trying to go overseas?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Where?" He said, "Afghanistan." I said, "Bet." No, 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 no. First he said Iraq, because he went to Iraq first. First he said Iraq, and I was like, "Nah." You know what I mean, I'm kind of into something else right now.
This
But
was this in the middle of like wartime?
Iraq was this was before I got my CDL. This was probably like
Okay.
11. So 9/11 based, like yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
It was
So
that
this was in
2001.
wartime.
It was in
Okay. So
wartime,
what was
but
that experience like?
that was way before. So for him, he came back. He told me it was, he made the money or whatever. Crazy experience. It was sweet. But when he hit me back for Afghanistan, I was in Virginia at the time. First time I wasn't in Virginia. That was for Iraq. Hit me back for Afghanistan. I was in Virginia driving trucks. I was doing the tanker thing. Shout out to my old head Terry, P Funk, from Portsmouth. Um, but he gave me the offer. We went to high school with somebody that was over there who was in the military. Got out the military, went straight to contracting in Afghanistan. So I said, "Bet, I'm always up for an adventure." And I never like to turn away from things that I feel as though I'll regret later in life. So that's something that I learned. So I said, "Bet, let's do it." So we had the plug. I ain't gonna put everything out there, but everything was kind of like copy and paste. Long story short, it took us a few months for everything to get processed, but he even put his thing in first, but I end up getting over there first. You know what I'm saying? So I end up going over there in like 2015 June, the month of June. Yeah, I was over there like the first week of June. We fly out, so we leave from South Carolina, and usually when we transporting over to Afghanistan, we always go to Dubai first. So this was like I've been to Dubai like probably over 15 times. Like I've been there a lot.
Talk
Um,
heavy now. Talk heavy now. Y'all
I don't
heard
do
he
that
been to Dubai like 15 times. You know what I'm saying?
a lot.
Well
Yeah, a lot of
traveled.
times. Yeah, it came to be that way. So we kind of spoke things into existence,
Spoken
if you
into
will,
fruition.
without even realizing it. So we used to transport through there because the company that we was working for, who was contracted with the government, that their most headquarters was there. You know what I'm saying, in the UAE in Dubai. So I go over there, and then the company charters us a plane out of Dubai to Afghanistan, and they also charter us one back from Afghanistan to Dubai when we leave in theater. Basically, theater is the area. That's what it's called.
Oh,
The war
that's
zone or
dope.
whatever.
So tell the people a bit about nightlife. Like, what is Dubai like? You know what I'm saying? Break it down a bit for those that never been.
Right? Like
What's the experience like over there? And what was something that you can say that you'll never forget about that experience? Like, break that down a bit.
that's crazy. It's hot. That's one thing I tell you. Obviously, it's a desert, but I'm telling you, the heat different. When you come out that airport, that thing just hug you like 30 people just on you. You know what I'm saying? But one thing I would say is, all right, let's start with the nightlife. The nightlife crazy from the rip. I ain't gonna hold you. Nightlife crazy. Like, first of all, it's a Muslim country. Um, so I respected that. A lot of Muslims in my family. It's the faith of my choice, but I don't really get particular with religion because that's a whole nother conversation. But that's the way I choose to worship. But anyway, so I respected that. But at the time, I really wasn't like into like praying as much. Like just normally praying. Like obviously, I believe in the Creator. I believe in God, so of course I pray. But I wasn't on my deen, so to speak. The nightlife was really good. I ain't gonna lie. It was a lot of clubs. It was certain clubs they did certain things in. You know what I'm saying? And if we really going to stir the pot, we're going to keep it all the way funky. So it was it's certain clubs where it's
Let's
ladies
get
of the
it.
night.
You know what
You
I'm
know what I mean?
saying?
Ladies of the night
Tell
in
the
certain
people a bit.
clubs.
Like. All right. So in the nightlife, give us one little thing that was crazy to you. Like, in the
Mm.
nightlife?
One thing that was crazy was like in the daytime and on Friday, because you know it's Muslim country, so Friday a lot of businesses closed, ain't no clubbing, ain't nothing popping like that. In the
Right.
daytime, it's normal, it's regular. Excuse me. Soon as nighttime come, it's like everybody come out. It's a little bit cooler, but it's crazy humid though. It's still hot. It's just the sun ain't out. So I was surprised that it was like so much drinking and the club's crazy. So we go. It's this one spot called the York. If you've been in Dubai at any time, like early teens or even before then, it's a club called the York. It's another one called the Cyclone. The York International, and they got a club up there on the mezzanine level. So you go in there, and it's just all types of chicks in that joint, yo. Now I ain't peep at first, but it ain't take me long to peep once I walk in there. You go in there, soon as you walk through the door, chicks on you. Like it's crazy, and you like, damn, what's going on? Like I ain't no celebrity, but then you find out they ladies of the night. You know what I'm saying? They be working. So a lot of people come there to play. Is what I found out. Like from other places in the world, if you know they may come from other strict countries and come there and have a good time. So that was crazy to me that that type of situation existed within a country that was so strict. You know what I mean? Um, I'm sure this type of thing goes on everywhere, but it was just new to me. Mind you, this was my first experience outside the US. You know what I mean? So I'm taking in everything, you know what I'm saying? But I'm also having a blast. So at this time, this was 2015 when it started. And at that time, I'm about 31, 32, you know, give or take or whatever. So I had my
Young
kids
and getting
early.
it. You was having the ball. You was out there young and getting it, doing what you was doing. You know what I'm saying?
I felt
And
like I earned that though.
respectfully so. You know what I'm saying? You got a good
Yeah,
job. You out in Dubai. You living life. You traveling.
yeah. Had
So
my kids early, so I feel like I got that time back that I would have had if I didn't have kids earlier. You know, I had a ball out there. I stayed out there sometimes, you know. Sometimes I wouldn't come home as much because if you work outside the country, the US, for 330 days or more, it's a tax-free situation. So you get taxed for like regular, just simple stuff like Fed tax, Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, but that was it. It wasn't nothing else. You know what I'm saying? So I would stay
right.
out the country so I could keep most of my money. So if I wasn't in Dubai, I was somewhere else. I would come home maybe like once or twice a year, and I wouldn't
Yeah.
exceed 30 days. I wouldn't exceed more than a month of being home. So if I wasn't in Dubai, I was somewhere else, somewhere in Asia, or I was somewhere in Africa or something like that.
Yeah. So I was gonna ask you about like other places you've been, and you just mentioned too, Asia and Africa. Um, so what are the cultures? What would you say is like the difference in cultures in these places you've been? What's the difference between there and America? Like break that down a bit, for those that haven't been to these places that hasn't got to travel around the world, you know, tell the people a bit about, some things that are just completely different and that would seem like a
Um,
culture shock to you.
um, to be honest, the one thing I learned from traveling a little bit is that at the end of the day, we all the same. Like we really are the same. We wanna eat good food. We wanna live a decent life. We wanna laugh and be close with our loved ones. That kind of brought the humanity perspective for me full circle. You know what I'm saying? Because even though the cultural aspect are different, like for instance, in South Africa, it's a thing called load shedding. Um, so load shedding is when the government just decides to cut the electricity off for X amount of hours. They let you know they're cutting it off, but you might not know exactly when it's going to happen. But they'll tell you it might be off for 6 to 8 hours from this time to that time. That's kind of crazy.
What was that experience like? I mean,
The first, I
this is
think,
pitch black out that John. So like,
if
was
it's
it any like
nighttime,
wilding out going on? Was it like a crime spree? Was it any of that going on, or was it just chill? Because back home,
yeah,
that sound like
yeah,
the purge to me. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like back
yeah, it
home.
sounds like a
So
purge.
was it like that over there, or
Nah, it wasn't like that. Don't get me wrong. South Africa got their own thing going on. You know what I'm saying? They got a gritty side to them, but it wasn't that going on. Like it happened in the mall one time, like in Cape Town. That's where I was at. In Cape Town, it's pretty much like America in a lot of ways. But we in the mall, load shedding just hit. The lights go off, but it's daytime, so it's still some sunlight passing through the mall or whatever. Ain't nobody stopped doing nothing. Everybody's still transacting. Everything's still moving as usual. I'm like, yo, this junk crazy. All the electric just
How
cut
could they
off.
see though? Like, what was they doing to see? Like, people
It
using
wasn't
their
pitch.
vehicles or something?
Nah, it wasn't pitch black. It's daytime. It might go
Okay,
off in
okay.
the daytime. You know what I'm saying? If you live farther outside the city and it's nighttime, then yeah, it might be pitch black. So when it is like that, you get little night lights and battery operated lights, things like that. They kind of make do with less. I'll say that. I'll say people, the culture shock for me was that people are happier with less, if that makes sense. Like the Philippines, for instance, some of the most warmest, kindest, giving people that I ever met. You know what I'm saying? Like extremely kind, extremely like humble, beautiful people, man. They could have nothing and still offer you something. You know what I'm saying? Like eating is really important throughout different cultures. You know what I'm saying? Like in Ethiopia, for instance, I was dealing with a young lady in Ethiopia. I have a couple friends from there as well. But anyway, one of the things that I found there to be interesting is that eat when they eat, right? So, you know, if a woman feeds you with her hands, because certain everything you can eat with your hands, basically, because they eat injera a lot. Injera is like a soft flatbread made from I think it's tetch flour. If I'm maybe eluding me, but it's a specific flour that they make the injera with. So
Sure.
you might see a man feed another man or put the food in his mouth. It's not a gay thing. It's a like an endearment thing.
Respect thing.
Yeah, it's an endearment and a respect thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But when a woman does it, she definitely love you for sure. That's something that you can count on. They real loyal people as well. So that was a little different. I went to a pool party in Ethiopia. It was like a full moon party. A friend of mine, shout out to Sedena, wherever you at, probably in Germany right now. But she took me to this pool party. Yo, it was crazy. So we talking. She like, yo, I'm like, so what we gonna do? She like, yo, the next day after you get here, we're going to this pool party. It's in Adama, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, Adama. It's like maybe an hour outside of Addis Ababa. And that John was popped in, cuz when I tell you that John was crazy, I'm just in this John like, damn, this John crazy. And it was at night too. It was a pool party at night. So I'm like, damn, this is crazy. From time to time in my travels, I had moments where I would just be like, damn, I can't believe I'm here. You know what I'm saying? I always wanted to travel, but I never knew how it was going to happen. I ain't, you know, I always told myself I would be rich. That's something that I always said, even since I was young. But traveling was something that I always wanted to do. Like geography was my favorite subject in school, in elementary school. But I would sit back and I would just think like, one day I came out on the balcony of my hotel in my room, and I realized I was there for 2 weeks at the time, and I was like, it's my second week. I'm like, damn. Everywhere I look, because I'm looking over the city, the billboards, the commercials, the people, I ain't see a Caucasian person in weeks. And it hit
So
me. I
how
was
does
like,
that feel? Like what was that experience like? Because I can imagine, like for us, when we from Philadelphia, we seeing our
yeah,
own kind, and it's
yeah,
different though. Because when you
right,
go to a
right,
certain part of our city in South Philly, you see
yeah,
Caucasian people, which is fine, you know what I'm saying? Because we
yeah,
grew up around them, and that's
right,
fine. But
yeah,
what is that experience like to be like in the motherland, and it's just everybody look like you, and it's like nobody hating on you because y'all all the same, you know what I'm saying? So like,
yeah.
what is that experience like?
It was it was different, man. It was something that was it. It's one of them things where you got to just experience it. It's hard to put in words because everybody will get a certain feeling, and it's hard to relay that feeling because at that moment it's not a feeling that you can express in words. It's a feeling of serenity. It's a feeling. It's a soulful feeling that you feel in your soul. You see
So
what
you
I'm
feel
saying?
at home, in other
You
words.
Because I felt like I belonged there. You see what I'm saying? It was like a place of belonging. And coming from America, it's so much exile, it's so much inhumane treatment, it's so much brutality here, whether it's us against us or whether it's others against us. We get treated in a certain light and looked at in a certain light that's not favorable to us. So when you go to a place where it's normal to see people like you and there's no difference as far as race is concerned. I mean, of course, nationality, yes, but we all the same. So for me, it was mind blowing. It was humbling. It was surreal. You know what I mean? It was something that I haven't experienced up until that point. And even though I was there, it really didn't hit me until that morning. And
Oh man, that's
it,
dope.
it was a
So
beautiful experience.
that's dope. That's dope. So let's talk about the trading thing. You do trading, right? How'd you get started into that? And give the people three trading tips. And then we gonna get into your song. You know what I'm saying? Because we at the 40-minute mark, and then we gonna go into the last part of it. So
Right,
like
right,
tell
right.
the people a bit about that.
All right, cool. I'm gonna try to be brief because we can go on all day. Cause so the
Yeah,
trading
yeah.
part,
You know, we gotta get to the obstacles. You gave some obstacles about, being over in Afghanistan and all of that, you know what I'm
yeah.
saying? So like let's break that down. Like tell people a bit. Just
All
a
right, we
just a
will.
bit.
So the trading, I got introduced into trading like around 2009, 10, 11, something like that. I don't know how I met this dude. I can't remember, but he was in the trading forex at the time. I don't even know what happened to this brother, but he was like a mentor to me at the time for a very short period. So we had some phone conversations. He taught me some things. One day he just disappeared. I never heard from him again. So I don't know if he messed up somebody's bag or what. You know what I'm saying? But I never heard from him again. So the idea of the stock market and trading and all of that, he didn't leave me with enough for me to continue at that time. My mind was somewhere else at the time. But I never forgot it though. You know what I mean? It was in the back of my mind, but I didn't act on it. So when I was in Afghanistan, it was one of my coworkers. His name was Gerald. Gerald was a savvy dude, old head, but took care of himself. He didn't look as old as he was, but he was really savvy. One day, we out, we at work. We used to work at night. Most of the time I was there, I worked at night. So we just busting it up one night, and he started telling me about his investments. That's when it clicked back to me, and I remember what the old head was talking to me about. So I'm listening to him. So I said, all right, bet I got to get back into this. That's when I started getting back into the stock market and trading and things like that. Then when I came home from Afghanistan, I ventured off into crypto a little bit. I made some money in crypto. I made some money in options. I was managing my own portfolios. This was before all the like, I don't want to call them gurus, but this was before people was taking opportunities to learn and put stuff out on the internet. So
Before it
I
came
learned.
super saturated, basically.
Yeah, yeah, which is good though, because now our people know how to use this vehicle. You know what I'm saying? To take their money to another place. So I came back home, made some money in crypto. I took that money, and obviously I had other things going on, so I was getting a little overwhelmed, and I was like, "Dang, this stuff is really, it could be overwhelming." I'm like the type of person that I go all the way in when I'm into something. You know what I'm saying? I'm all the way in. So I said I got to find another way. So I through a friend of mine, my man Steve Cosby. Shout out to my man Cos. Um, he found somebody. We always talking business. We did business and trucking as well. So he found a fiduciary. So I said, all right, bet. Let's set up a meeting. Let's talk to him. Long story short, I like what he was talking. I understood the market, so he ain't had to dumb it down for me. I understood what he was saying. I like what he was saying. I liked his approach. I went in with him. This was like almost 3 years ago. I took the money out of my crypto, most of my crypto, not all of it. I still got some crypto that I don't bother, but I took what I made.
Y'all hear that, folks? Save some of your crypto. Keep some of that crypto in the top.
I ain't big on crypto like that, but I know it's probably going to be something. It's turning into something now, and I wish I would have got in. I wish I would have knew about it like way, way earlier, but I didn't. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, I went in with Jose. I moved my portfolio into interactive brokers, where that's one of the places where he can manage your portfolios. I cashed out a certain part of my crypto. I gave him that money. I transferred my stocks over from other brokerages, and we had a plan. I told him, I said, listen, I'm not trying to be working all my life. I always had this thing where I wanted to retire early. So I said, I probably want to be done in my 40s at some point, maybe even 50. So I was like, I really don't want to work until I'm old, and I really can't enjoy the rest of my life like I want to because my health. I try to take as good best care of myself as I can, but I want to still be able to move around, jump around, have fun, things like that. Gave
Right.
him my portfolio. He gave me a plan with a trajectory that led up to the place where I wanted to be at a particular time. That was 3 years ago. I gave him that. He probably like maybe 3.5x my portfolio, which turned out to be a lot over time. And it was just through making consistent investments. It was just following his strategy and creating consistent investments and watching the market do what it do, which is turn that money into more money. So
Oh man, so that's dope. Give
that
the
was
people
helpful.
3 tips about tree and how it can help you. You know what I'm saying? Give them
Okay.
three tips.
3 tips. Right now, I like futures right now. Options is cool. I usually day trade futures now when I can. So 3 tips I would say one tip is don't look down on small beginnings. Um, Something small can turn into something big in the market if you do the right thing with it and you educate yourself. So that's one. Don't look down on small beginnings. Two, be disciplined and be a good steward of your money. And three, you probably heard this 1,000 times, but at some point, stop working for money and let the money work for you. So 3 tips, and I don't know if that's particular to trading, but if you was trading, I would say trading's going to teach you a lot about yourself. So if you don't want to hear the truth, don't trade because it's going to eventually, if you get into it, it's going to teach you a lot about yourself, and you're going to have to learn. Second, I would say don't try to change the game, change you so you could play the game as far as trading is concerned because you're not going to change trading. Trading is going to change you. Something that Wall Street Trapper said that I like. He said you either gotta change for what you want or you gotta change what you say you want. Shout out to Wall Street Trapper. I like him. He's somebody that I learned from as well.
Wall
So
Street
that was dope.
Trapper.
Yeah,
And
shout
you
out to Trap.
definitely speak about him a lot to me when we talk. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? You said that's
tap
one of
tap
the
that
people
ball.
you definitely look up to. So that's
Tap
dope.
that ball, man. And number three, I would say discipline. Without discipline in life in general, but definitely in trading, without discipline, it's hard to grow anything or change anything in the way that you would like.
Oh man, that's dope. All right, so tell the people we got a few more minutes left. Tell the people
Mhm.
about some more obstacles that you went through and how you overcame them.
Um, One obstacle was in Afghanistan, just being away from my family. I'm like 8,000 miles away. A good friend of mine, Kyle Ahart, shout out to my bro Kyle. Um, he was in the military. Me and him like really good friends to this day. We talk like almost every day. He helped me get through a lot of situations when I was over there. Like, cause I had to. It took us 2 days to get home. You know what I mean? Because of the paperwork, the politics, or whatever. One day from I wasn't in the main base in Afghanistan. I was in a FOB, which is called a forward operation base. So it was like basically a special ops base. So we had to go from that base to the main base, which was in Bagram, and then from Bagram we go to Dubai. So from one base to the main base is one day, and we don't drive out there. You know what I'm saying? Everything was helicopter to the main base, and then we fly out from the main base, charter airline or whatever, through Fly Dubai, which was the airline that they would choose. And then the next day, we in the hotel, and we already have our flights booked to go home. And going home from there, if you taking, we'll probably go from Dubai to, if you go from Dubai straight home, that's like a good 14 hours or so, 13, 14 hours straight flight. So, it takes 2 days to get home. So I would go through a lot with my kids being, young at the time. Um, my oldest 2 kids, mom, we was together, but we broke up. We was together for like 9 years. Started growing. So I had to learn how to be my own therapist, so to speak. I had to learn how to not be concerned with things that I love and focus on what was front of me, because if I didn't pay attention over there, I could have got killed. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times it was some dangerous things going on. So if I didn't pay attention and my mind wasn't where it needed to be, I
Yeah,
could have
you in the middle of
definitely,
the war, so yeah,
yeah, I could have definitely got
yeah.
myself,
So did
stuck
you
there.
have any
So
like situation, like did you have like any like uh type like PTSD or sleep habits broken because of it or anything like that?
yeah, I dealt with all that. I dealt with all that, especially coming back. Like the first year, couple years was kind of rough. It was very hard to sleep. When you sleeping in your hut, we call them huts or whatever. And like when incoming come in, when that incoming alarm go off, and you in your bed sleep, you kind of you got two choices. You could get up out the bed real quick, run outside, go into the bunker. The bunker is just like a concrete slab. You got to duck down and go into it, and there's sandbags around it. If a mortar hit that John, you probably ain't gonna make it anyway. You know what I'm saying? Unless it's you meant to be here and God keeps you here. But if you get a direct hit, you probably gonna be out of here. But sometimes I would wake up and just roll out my bed and just roll on the floor, throw my vest and my Kevlar helmet over me, and just lay there till the all clear came on. So that John could have hit my hut. It hit somebody's hut before when I was over there. A couple people got hurt while I was over there. So it could have happened to anybody. So it's one of them things where you mentally got to learn how to stabilize yourself and compartmentalize certain things like your family, your loved ones, things that you say are important and things like that, because that can drive you crazy. Some people came out there and they couldn't last. They was like, I can't make it out here. I got to go. One
So
week,
how
2 weeks,
did you
they're gone.
overcome that? How did you overcome like the PTSD, the sleeping broken sleeping habits and stuff like that? How did you overcome it? What was that for you that
Um,
did that?
a lot of it was my homie Kyle. You know what I'm saying? He said, cuz you need to go home. He said, like, I see you getting like real jumpy and all that, because he been through war and all of that. So he's seen certain signs and things like that. And he was like, I'm telling you, you need to go home, let your family love on you. You know what I'm saying? And get back to being you. So a lot of it was his advice and just coming home to family, and just not any one thing in particular, but just having your loved ones love you, and, just you just used to being around people that love you. As far as the sleep, it took a long time for that to like get somewhat normal. I never took medicine. I never wanted to. Excuse me. It was work. It was family. It was love. It was it was just a lot of resilience. You know what I'm saying? I'm naturally a resilient person. I said this was my whole thing. I'm from
I can
Philly. I'll
agree
go
with that.
anywhere. You know what I mean? I'm from Philly. People was like, "You going to Afghanistan? You crazy? It's war right now." I said, "Listen, I'm from Philly. You could die right here. I could
Yeah,
die walking out my front door. Like, what difference do it make? I'm
facts.
just going somewhere else. I mean, I got an opportunity. I got things to do and responsibilities. I'm gonna take care of it. So I'm gonna go.
Hey
Um,
man, listen, I think one of the dopest things that you said out of this thing, just now was the fact that you had family and somebody that was there to hold you down, to help you mentally, you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Because you could have lost it out there, you know what I'm saying, mentally.
yeah,
And it's a good thing that you had somebody by your side to help you through that, you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
It's always good to have somebody solid that can help you along the way. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying?
definitely,
And with that
definitely.
being said, we are going to get into this song, Hell of a Hand.
And I want to
Tell
shout
the
out my
people a
man.
bit about Hell of a
Hold on.
Hand. What was
Uh,
the thought process behind this song?
okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, tell the people a bit about it.
Real quick, I also want to shout out my man Sincere, because he was the ticket the way I got out there, and me and him worked at the same base. So I came first, he came second. That's my man from years ago. He also held me down. We held each other down, and I ain't gonna say much, but he also made sure me and him left, and we left in a very nice fashion. I'll just say that. But hell of a hand. Okay. So it's a lot of racial tension always in America. Um, I don't want to say I'm an activist, because I'm not. I don't like to be called one thing. I just tell people just call me Ralph, because once you're known for one thing, you put yourself in a
They put you
space,
in a box.
right? Or you become a
Yeah.
typecast like Urkel, and they never see your full potential to do anything else. So this particular time, I was just moved by what was going on, and I think I made this jump maybe like a couple years ago, maybe like, was it before COVID or after COVID? Don't really know. but there's a lot of like cop killings going on, killing African Americans and things like that. And I just don't understand why we so hate it. You know what I mean? Like, of course you got people say, oh, they hate it because we the chosen people, this, that, and the third. Yeah, I get all of that if that's the case and all, but why though? Because at the end of the day, when you expose yourself to the world and travel, like I said, we all the same. We all want the same thing. And as far as oppression, everybody getting oppressed. I don't care what color you are. You know what I'm saying? Everybody playing the game on your back. If you're part of the masses, then you getting the game played on your back, and you are the table until you decide to give up, or get up rather, and the game's over once you decide I don't want to let them play on my back no more. So I just sometimes I get moods. I get when I at this point in my life, I don't make music all the time. I do it for a hobby now, but when I'm in the mood and when I get a vibe and an idea, I run with it. You see what I'm saying? So at that particular time, um, I just got struck by a feeling. I just started writing.
Kingdom of Science says, I had the privilege of listening to this particular song and the entire album. It's a masterpiece for me.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate that. That's love.
Yeah. So we gonna get into it. Hell of a hand, Ralph Benjamin. Mute your mic, cuz. Hit the mic button, mute your mic.
Spoke through our songs, became a man attraction in industries we don't own. Unity the tune.
Oh, let's get that back. It looks like we had to play it.
Tones. Usually the conquer, same old song. Do I look like a threat? Do my skin got a tint?
For some reason, all right, we gotta stop it. And now here we go.
Like a threat. My skin got a tint. Lean when I drive. Had a little bench. Always in style. Ask me what I spent. Aggression on the thigh. But that's how we vent. Was dealt the hell of a hand and I ain't heaven sent. Was dealt the hell of a hand and I ain't heaven sent. Was dealt the hell of a hand and I ain't heaven sent. Was dealt the hell of a hand and I ain't heaven sent. I wanna know why we hate it so much. Everything y'all attempt imitate us so much. Why y'all try to turn us entertain us so much? When we feel a skill position, y'all don't pay us enough. We do everything proud, damn right we showing up. We feel music in our souls, so we wanna turn it up. Why dim our glow? Cause y'all ain't lit enough. We speak a universal language, the stars answer us. So why we treat it like we never belong? We was the first people here, so our history strong. They try to whitewash, but they history wrong. Science would agree that his feet was a bronze. When you find one that's tall, that don't make us a bronze. His story was his story, that don't speak for us all. We athletic, so of course we excel with a ball. Naturally we loyal, so them chains was a bond. Had to talk in code, so we spoke through our songs. Became a man attraction in industries we don't own. Unity the tune that'll make them change tones. Usually division conquer, same old songs. Do I look like a threat? Do my skin got a tint? Lean when I drive, had a little bench. Always in style, ask me what I spent. Aggression on the thigh, but that's how we vent. Was dealt the hell of a hand and I ain't heaven sent. Was dealt the hell of a hand and I ain't heaven sent. Was dealt the hell of a hand and I ain't heaven sent. Was dealt the hell of a hand and I ain't heaven sent. We ain't create gangs, we was tribal affiliated. Proud of our bodies, nobody was humiliated. Love cured everything, envy wasn't tolerated. Queens reigned on kingdoms and procreated. Kings was respected, homage was paid. No receipt necessary upon them Jews laid. Fragrance, aromatic, environment sage. Gifts was given just to be present in the gaze. This is what we come from, y'all familiar with our ways. We healed you, bathed you, really babies raised. You studied us, baited us, brought us to a cage. Buried us, still rise, are you not entertained? Dealing with God body, why seem so amazed? When we say God got him, don't mistake it old age. So we lean when we drive, bop when we walk, right? Just expressing ourselves, no need to get uptight. More concerned with my clothing than my being. Can't believe I'm not a human that you seeing. Be that as it may, whatever the reason being, without Africans there can never be Europeans. Do I look like a threat? Do I? Skin got a tint, lean when I drive, had a little bench, always in style. Ask me what I spent, aggression on the thigh, but that's how we vent. Was dealt the hell of a hand and I ain't heaven sent. Was dealt the hell of a hand and I ain't heaven sent. Was dealt the hell of a hand and I ain't heaven sent. Was dealt the hell of a hand and I ain't heaven sent. Yeah, that about sums it up. You can't be mad over a feeling. We've been feeling for so long, and nothing's changed. We only speaking what we see. It's a fact. We know what we know. You can't change facts no more. It is what it is.
That's that work right there, folks. Y'all heard it here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Y'all heard it on Too Raw for Radio as well, but you heard it here on the Pot Podcast with Tigmatic. You know what I'm saying? While we stirring the pot, because it's a mashup episode. So it's stirring the pot and the pot. And y'all heard it first. You know what I'm saying? Here, Ralph Benji. You know what I'm saying? Listen, that's one of my favorite tracks. You know why that's one of my favorite tracks?
Why?
Because it's talking about culture and how it was before all of our ancestors even got over here, and how it is over there now, and how it should be here today. You know what I'm saying? So for me, that song is very conscious. It's really telling people like, yo, like we all the same, like you said, you know what I'm saying? Without Africans, they can never be Europeans. You know what I'm saying? It's the truth. You know what I'm saying? I really like that record. I really, really like that record because
Thank you.
There are a couple other joints. I'm gonna be playing them. Like I'm gonna start playing some of the other joints before the show starts, so people can really get familiar with Ralph Benjamin. You know what I'm saying? You know, I think you're a talented, dope artist. I think you're an awesome human being, and it was great to have you on, man. So I want to say thank you for coming on. You know what I'm saying? And you know, after this, when we get off, stay on so we can chop it up. You know what I'm saying? But we gonna close it out like that. You know what I'm saying? Y'all were tuned into another episode of the Pot Podcast / Stirring the Pot. It's a Friday. Usually it's Monday mashups, but I gave y'all a Friday mashup. So enjoy y'all weekend. Have fun. Stay safe. And if you're doing it, do it safe. You know what I'm saying? and stay blessed out there and put God first, folks. I'm out. Peace.
Peace.